right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. I see a lot of feedback coming through. We'll read some of them as they come through here on this conversation. Use the hashtag Daybreak at Trevor Mbiji at Citizen TV Kenya. We'll read some of them in just a bit. And Prof, we're coming to you on this issue of endorsements. You know, even up until this point, the president has not endorsed anyone. Is it important that he does, or should he just stay away from this?
I think he should stay away from endorsing anybody. Because being the president of everybody in Kenya, it's not good for him to endorse any particular candidate. And former President Kibaki stayed away from endorsing anybody as such. And I think that's good. That's good strategy. I think endorsements should come at the point of when people are making coalitions, because if, like, a particular political party gets convinced that it wants to work with other political parties, and then they identify like first among equal, at that time it's when parties, when trade unions, the way we did for Kibaki, because even civil society at that point, 2002, we were able to endorse his candidature, and many political parties endorsed his candidature, and of course Moi endorsed Uhuru at that point, and Uhuru suffered from being called a project. But I think what worries me, and Gladys made the point that there are like 5 wazees appearing to endorse Raila, or even endorsing Raila. Unfortunately in our country, this thing called kingpin, you can have one individual, whether it is Ruto, it is Raila, it's Kalonzo, telling people this is whom we elect. And you know, all that group of people actually are denied their right to vote. They vote according to that one particular person, which really is the antithesis of our democracy. And that's one thing that requires to get killed in Kenya. Also, maybe to just react a little to the point of can we recognize Raila? Historically, you cannot take away from him that he was in the reform movement, you know, from the 80s, even from the 70s, when he was at the University of Nairobi, and the Constitution, he was a key actor within Constitution making. You can't take that away from him. But I would imagine in politics, particularly when you want to accommodate many people so that you can enhance your winning capacity, you have to accept. Like Kibaki, you know, embraced KANU those days, which, you know, we had been fighting against. But when it came to now appointing people who were going to lead, he chose, you know, very carefully to begin with. And I think the analysis that Gladys had for Raila to show how he has kind of changed over time, I wish she could also apply the same analysis to Ruto, to be able to, you know, to demonstrate that he has been consistent, unlike Raila. And I think all our politicians, and that's why it's easy to switch. You know, people switch from you know, supporting Raila to supporting Ruto to supporting, because sometimes it's more motivated by personal interest, rather than saying that I have seen something new about how the voting now is going to drive Kenya. And I think that's really the deep conversation that we should have. Like, looking at any candidate, what demonstrates that that candidate will offer different leadership in Kenya, really pro-people leadership, which will change our country, fight corruption, promote devolution, promote constitutionalism, rule of law. I think if we got into that debate and we used somebody's history, and also we were able to ask, who are the people around Raila? Who are the people around Ruto? Who are the people around Musalia, Kalonzo, and so on? And therefore, if any of them was to get into power, could that group, because you are not president alone, would that group take our country forward. We are working with Mukisa, I'm working with Mother and some other people, and I think that's a group that people can really say, if the people of Kenya and God gave these people leadership, then the country would change. But I'm saying that that's really where the debate should be. And sometimes we can have actually superficial debates. Yeah,
but are you seeing anything new now that you've brought it up? Are you seeing anything new from any of these leaders who you've called horses and categorized yourself as a donkey?
I think at least some of the people who are working with Raila, because there are some of the colleagues I've worked with in the past in the reform movement, that's an interesting dimension to watch. But I don't know how it will play out, because they could also be crowded out by people who have historically, in the politics, worked with Raila, not people who have worked with him in the constitution and in the reform and so on. So that is space that is interesting to watch. And again, when we go to the side of Ruto, and I'm very generous because I'm talking about presidential candidates and not necessarily myself, one has to also look at and see where is the content there that is going to prosecute the bottom up. And of course, it's also important for maybe Gladys to shed light on when did Ruto begin to accept and see that bottom up is the solution. Is this something that from 1992 he has had in his mind? I'm not saying that it is not possible, but as a professor, as a researcher, I would like to see evidence that what somebody is saying is something that can be traced in their life's journey, and therefore for me to now get convinced, candidate Raila, candidate Ruto, there is consistency in terms of actually being pro-people. And I think Maura did say that Raila is no longer pro-people. But this idea of the Azimio La Umoja was an attempt to go to those people and ask them, what is it that you want Kenya to look like? And of course, if those ideas are translated in an ideology, they are translated into a program, then, one can say that's something important to look at. I think also Ruto has been going around also collecting some views, not as dramatically as Raila. And so we really want to see real debate on the, socioeconomic dimension of the leaderships that are putting themselves forward.
Okay. Let me hear this from Gladys Boss. There's a pose there that Prof has asked, that talking of consistency for leaders, at what point was the eureka moment when the DP finally realized that what we've been doing for the last 9 years doesn't seem to be working? Now the process should be bottom up.
Yes, I think the Deputy President had been consistent in his performance record, and in whether as a minister, as a member of parliament. Everybody who's from Uasin Gishu knows that when he was MP of Eldoret North at that time, he vowed that he does not want to see any schools that were made of mud thatched schools. And he actually changed that during the term. He delivered. When he was the Minister of Agriculture, actually every farmer will tell you that things changed in farming. When he was the Minister of Education, he's the one who closed the 2-year gap. Stay home before you go to university after high school. So he has a performance record. When he was minister under Kibaki, Kibaki feted him and awarded him for being the best performing minister. So this is a person who is a performer and a hard worker. And we see it, even the way he's carrying his work now. When in 2013, he was running under URP, they made certain pledges with Uhuru Kenyatta. They said, in the first 5 years, we're going to set a foundation for economic growth. It was very clear. And they said, we want to industrialize Kenya. But you cannot industrialize Kenya unless you have skilled labor. Hence the reason why they set up the the vocational training institutes across the country, the TVETs, they've delivered on that. I think 170 were built the last time I counted. Then they said, also, in order for the country to have economic growth, we have to improve our road infrastructure.
Okay.
They did that. Then they said we need to have a reliable railroad transportation.
Yeah.
They set up the SGR. They also said we need to have power. And that's when they had the electrification. 8 million households to date, up from 2 million households connected to electricity. The road network was at, I think, 2000. They've now built 11,000 kilometers of road network. So they committed that in 2013. They did it. In the new term in 2017, they made a pledge that now they will undertake the Big Four, which was now go into manufacturing, because now we have the skilled labor. Right. They said we are going to deal with healthcare. They said they were going to deal with food security, which deals with agriculture, which is 70% of our GDP. They went on to say that they were going to look into what was the other one? They were Big Four, yes.
Hold that thought on the Big Four agenda 1 minute. I need to cross over.